Chapter 298, Qingqing's Premeditation 2. However, firstly, the price was very beautiful. Secondly, the intelligence level and exploration radius were far inferior to Huang. Zhu Tui was not in a hurry to sleep. Instead, he began his routine training every night. He first cultivated the energy field power for a while to strengthen the energy field power in his Danshin. Then, he continued to activate his genetic base points. He immediately stopped cultivating when his mind power was depleted to 50%. Then, Zhu Tui lay in the tent. He slowly spread out his mental perception and extended them toward the ground. This time, he used microscopic perception. He continued to sense the original quantum frequency of the mountain. This time, Zhu Tui tried his best to increase the range of his senses. In his consciousness visualization, he included the entire mountain range in his perception range. His microscopic perception rose from the ground to a certain height. Then, he sensed the entire mountain, be it the flowers, trees, or anything else on the mountain. Zhu Tui remembered a few ancient texts very clearly. Mountains were the veins of the earth. It was known as a mountain range. Mountains are made of soil. Mountains are soil, so the mountain is the ground. The ground is the mountain. Zhu Tui vaguely understood this. He had also gained something about Qingqing's reference about I am the mountain, and the mountain is me. But he still felt that it was a little lacking. The mountain was exceptionally quiet in the middle of the night. However, it was extremely noisy in his mental perception. The sound of insects crawling, small animals looking for food, the sound of large birds flying past, and the sound of all living things growing entered Zhu Tui's ears. They combined into a strange frequency. Zhu Tui seemed to sense the breathing of the earth. The ground beneath his feet seemed to be moving rhythmically. This rhythm should be the original quantum frequency of the mountain. Zhu Tui wanted to see clearly, but he could not. He panicked and instantly fell out of this state. He failed to sense the original quantum frequency of the mountain again. Zhu Tui was not annoyed at all. He knew that ever since he had received guidance from Beyond Yuan, he had made great progress under the constant sensing over the past few days. He was only one step away from sensing the original quantum frequency of the mountain. His direction of cultivation was correct. He was just a little anxious just now. He used his mind power to sense his surroundings. Everything was normal. In Gongling and Qingqing's tent, the two girls were still chattering. The two of them chatted enthusiastically, probably because it was their first time in the deep mountains. Zhu Tui did not remind them. They would get used to it slowly. Not everyone could fall asleep in a minute like him. After that, Zhu Tui entered a meditative state and fell into a deep sleep within a few breaths. It was the alarm clock that woke Zhu Tui up. It was 3:57. He felt that he had not slept enough. It was very warm inside the sleeping bag. The air outside was cold. He forcefully cut off the countless small hands in the warm sleeping bag that did not allow Zhu Tui to get out of bed. Zhu Tui got up and put on a warm set of clothes. He put on a jacket so that he could wear a combat uniform. He stepped out of the tent at 4 o'clock sharp. When he stepped out of the tent, he saw Qingqing walking towards his tent. I was just about to call you. Since you're up, I'll go and rest. Everything is basically normal. I've frightened 2 wolves away. There shouldn't be any wolves. Zhu Tui nodded and accepted the night duty mission. As soon as he sat down, Huang sent a night vision video to Zhu Tui's communication device. Under the night sky, a figure was flying through the mountains at a ghostly speed. A huge brown bear that was looking for food seemed to have smelled something. It silently pounced towards the source of the smell. The figure gently lifted his body and tapped the giant brown bear's head with the tip of his foot. The brown bear's head exploded, but the man did not even stop. He immediately left. If his direction doesn't change, he will be able to meet us in about an hour. However, the direction should have changed. The patrolling hummingbird did not see any sign of him, Huang said. Yes, continue the surveillance. With Huang's help, Zhu Tui had an easy night on duty. Zhu Tui added a few sticks of dead wood and made the bonfire bigger. He suddenly had an idea. He took out his repulsive force flying skateboard and silently rose into the air. He directly flew 100 meters into the air. A height of 100 meters was the height limit of the repulsive force flying skateboard. He set the repulsive force flying skateboard to hover mode. Zhu Tui used the starlight to look down at the mountain range below. Under the starlight of the night, the entire mountain was like a huge reptile entrenched there. The wind blew through the vegetation, making the mountain look alive. Zhu Tui slowly closed his eyes and visualized the living mountain that he saw in his mind. He then controlled the repulsive force flying skateboard to slowly land on the ground. He activated his mental perception. He began to sense the mountain again. To be precise, he was beginning to sense the terrain. He's sensing the earth, where one's feet were on the ground. They were soil, earth, and mountain. Am I the mountain? When thought of this, Zhu Tui suddenly had an idea. He did not care that the ground was damp and cold. He laid flat on the ground. He relaxed his mind. His microscopic perception first increased to the next level before he began to slowly exert his strength. He had reached the limit of what he could do. In the soil, a grass seed stubbornly broke through the soil and began to sprout. An unknown crawler crawled with difficulty under the soil, leaving a thin hole in its wake. This small hole seemed like it could exist forever. However, with Zhu Tui's microscopic perception, he could sense the rhythm of the mountain range's aura.